The first game that I ever bought for full price at retail with my own money was the one and only Tomodachi Life for the 3DS. And because the most recent game that I've bought for full price on release is Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, we've come full circle in a way. And I think it's time for me to rank every game that I've ever bought for full price based on how worth it was. So let's just go through it right now. We have S, A, B, C, D, and F. S tier is going to be the ones where I would do it over 1,000 times. It was absolutely worth buying it for full price. A is, it was definitely worth it, although not as much so as the S tier for whatever reason. B tier is going to be the ones that were probably worth it, and I would probably do it again. C is going to be ones that I was kind of 50-50 on. You know, maybe I would do it again, maybe I wouldn't. D is going to be for the ones that were probably not worth it, and then F is going to be the ones that were definitely not worth it. And this isn't necessarily going to be entirely based on the quality of the game. It'll be based on how much I played it, how long it was, and just a bunch of other factors. So we'll start off with Tomodachi Life for the 3DS. I bought this for $40 when it came out. I was 8 years old at the time, and how worth it was it? It's one of my favorite games of all time. I've played it for hundreds of hours, and it's still worth well more than what I paid for it. So as far as being worth it, Tomodachi Life could very well be the number one most worth it game that I've ever bought for full price. I mean, it's got everything going for it. It's more expensive now. I got hundreds of hours worth of gameplay, and the game is one of my all-time favorites. So, moving on to the second game, we have Zelda Majora's Mask 3D. So, Zelda Majora's Mask 3D, I never actually beat it. I played it a lot when I was a kid. It's one of those games where I've restarted it plenty of times, but never actually got to the end. So, we all have those. But Zelda Majora's Mask, despite never having actually finished it, I do love this game. I love the art style, and it's probably the best traditional 3D Zelda. So, with that being said, I would say it was a B tier one. It was definitely B tier. It was probably worth it, although I never actually finished it, and in terms of how much game time did I get out of it, there are definitely better ones for that, but all in all, probably worth it. And that brings us to the next one, Splatoon. So, when I was a kid, the Wii U was the current Nintendo console, and it was always getting panned. The Wii U has no game, so why would you buy a Wii U? And nowadays, of course, we know that is true. There was no reason to buy a Wii U. It was garbage. But Splatoon, at the time of its release, was considered to be like the reason to buy a Wii U. This is it. So, I bought it, and it went about as well as you'd expect for a 9-year-old playing a competitive online shooter. I was bad at it, I didn't really know what I was doing, and I barely played it, but as a saving grace, I probably bought it for $60, and GameStop had some sort of promotion where I was able to trade it in for like $35, so I didn't end up losing that much money, and yeah, that's not my original copy, but it's close enough. I would say Splatoon was a D tier one. You know, I at least played it quite a bit, and I got a lot of my money back. Some would say most of my money back by trading it in. So, we'll go D tier with that one. And, you know, this is where I will step in and say, like, this is not a pure reflection of the game's quality. Of course, Zelda Majora's Mask would be higher if we were doing it based purely on the game's quality, because it's one of the greatest games ever made, but I never finished it. It's not worth as much. So, like, it's just kind of a combination of factors. I didn't get that much playtime out of it. That's kind of the whole idea. The next one is first of many of what we will say are going to be the annual sports games. So, as a kid, and even to some extent now, I am a sports fan. When I was a kid, I loved football and I loved baseball. Nowadays, I hate football, and I still love baseball. You can see I got some framed baseball jerseys on the wall. I love baseball. I don't love football. We got Madden 16, so Madden 16 was the current Madden when I started getting into football. So, I mean, it's got that going for it, but I had already bought Madden 13 on the Wii U because it was, at the time, I only had a Wii U, And then I got a PS4 for Madden, and I bought Madden in either July or August of 2016. I was not familiar with how the annual sports releases worked, so I didn't know that Madden 16 was going to become outdated very shortly after my purchase, and that's the big problem with this one. And it's the reason I'm going D tier, or F tier. I got very little game time out of it, and the game is not very good, of course. I mean, it's a modern Madden game, and a lot of them are slop fests. But that's to say, like, Madden 16, I have some nostalgia for Madden Mobile 16, but Madden 16 itself, nothing really. That might be the worst one, because another thing is, the game is absolutely worthless now. You know, I'll go to the flea market, I'll buy a lot of garbage games, and then there'll oftentimes be a Madden 16 in there. So it doesn't really, like, it doesn't do anything for me. So the next one is going to be Super Mario Maker. Super Mario Maker was, I don't know if I'd say it was a craze at the time. I mean, relative to other Wii U games, this was definitely the most popular one when it came out. And I played it quite a bit. It wasn't like my favorite thing ever. It's one of those games that's a lot better in theory than it is actually playing it, because ultimately, how much can you really do with a level unless you're like super creative? And a lot of the levels that you're going to play are not going to be very good. So again, they don't really have much of a use. But Mario Maker, I still did get a lot of game time out of it, and I do think it was a good purchase. I would probably put it in the B tier. It was solid. I would probably do it again, given the opportunity, because there's also a very certain like magic to having played Mario Maker right when it came out. You know, it's just kind of one of those cool things. So yeah. So next, I don't have every game. So not every game I have physically. Some of those are because I chose to buy them digitally, which is very few. A lot of them are because they didn't have physical prints, but I decided to include them anyways, just for the sake of, you know, being holistic here. And so the first digital game is going to be Madden 17, which I actually didn't buy digitally. The reason I don't have it is because I didn't want it anymore. Madden 17, I played a lot more than 16, but that's primarily because I got it at the beginning of the game's launch cycle as opposed to like 2 months before the next one came out. So I had a lot of time with Madden 17, and it wasn't very good. So when I was a kid in Madden 16, I didn't have a PS4. Eventually I got one, but for most of the year I was just watching YouTube videos about people playing Ultimate Team, and I wanted to get into it myself. So Madden 17 came out, and I was excited to finally be able to play it for like an entire year by myself, and I just never really did, because the Madden 17 Ultimate Team was not good. So, but I did still get probably like 40 hours out of it, and so I'll put it in D tier. Not nearly as bad as Madden 16 in this regard, but still probably was not worth it for me. But I got a lot of playtime out of it, which that counts for a lot. Next is going to be Pokemon Sun. So Pokemon Sun, I bought with like the figure bundle and everything, and it's unfortunate that I don't have the big box anymore, but I do still have the figure. It's somewhere in here. I don't know where it is, but I still have the figure. Oh, I think it's up there. I don't know if you can see it. It's I might be pointing directly at it. I do have the figure up there. Anyways, that's not the point. Pokemon Sun, I did not like this game, and I still don't like it now. It's probably my least favorite Pokemon game that I've played to any significant degree. I don't know. It's too long-winded. It's boring. I don't like the plot, but it, you know, like I'm playing these games for the Pokemon. I can play a million other better games for a story, and it's just like, it's too much. It's too much story. The game is still worth a pretty good amount, which definitely counts for something. And of course, the reason that I'm even counting that is because regardless of whether or not I bought these games at the time, I would definitely want most of, if not all of them, for my collection. So it's more of like okay, well, I paid $40 to have this game when it came out, as opposed to me paying $30 to have it in my collection now. So that's why. So Pokemon Sun, I would say, is probably I think it's a definition of C tier. Like, I could take it or leave it. I don't necessarily have very good memories with the game per se, and I don't think very highly of the game now, so it's not. It doesn't do much for me. It's a very mediocre game in my opinion, but it's still Pokemon. Next is going to be Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Wii U. So the day the Switch came out, I was a bit less into Nintendo at the time. It was like that era, that age where I was like starting to outgrow Nintendo. I mean, as you can see, I still have not done that. There's like Nintendo shit all over my room. But like, I was at a time where I was starting to get into other stuff. So I was not paying as close of attention to Nintendo at the time. And so I wasn't paying as close attention to this game. But on the day the Switch came out, my cousin came over, and for some reason, despite them not having a Wii U, a Wii, any Nintendo consoles, they bought the Switch on day one, and it came with Breath of the Wild, and I played it for like a couple hours, and I was like, this is like the best thing ever. And so I, like, probably within a week, bought this game on the Wii U, and played it for hundreds of hours. This is my second favorite game of all time, and is S tier. It's S tier. It's one of the best games ever made. I got hundreds of hours of playthroughs out of it. You know, playthroughs, I say plural because I played that game like once or twice every year from start to finish for like the first 5 years after it came out. So it's safe to say I got a lot of playtime out of it. Of course, a lot of those playthroughs came on Switch because I did eventually get one, as you can tell by the massive pile of mostly Switch games in front of me. But yeah, love that game. Definitely S tier in that regard. Next is MLB The Show 17. So I'll be a lot more lenient of the MLB The Shows than I will be the Maddens, because I actually like baseball now. I still play MLB The Show. It's on the home screen. We're going to have more MLB The Show later on. But MLB 17, it's good. It was a good starting point for me. It got me into baseball, but ultimately I sucked at this game. I played it a lot. In terms of like what it represents as being the first MLB The Show that I played, and really the game that got me to be more of a baseball fan than a football fan. So like, I do like it a lot for those reasons, but as far as the game itself, I don't think it's the best ever, but just for like, it was definitely worth it. I got probably like 200 or 300 hours out of it. It got me into baseball, which, those are things that are invaluable. But as far as the game itself and like it being worth money now, it doesn't really have either of those. So I'm going to put it A tier. And this is where the entire like letter ranking goes off the rails. So like, anyone skips ahead in the video and then sees MLB The Show 17 in A tier and Zelda Majora's Mask 3D in B tier, they will not enjoy that. And so that's where the scale we're grading on becomes very important. Next is MLB. Oh no, never mind. Almost went off the pile when we have to go off of the list here, which next is Madden NFL 18. So Madden 18, this is the one where I it was not a very good purchase. So everything's going into rest mode now. I gotta have the Persona 5 background. It's gotta be. It's not on the list. There's no Persona 5 on this list. But anyways, Madden 18 is going to be D tier. It's very similar to Splatoon. No, it's similar to Splatoon. I traded it in for money. Like I think I probably got like $20 for Madden 18 about halfway through the game's cycle, and I did play this one a lot. I will say that. I played it a lot, but I don't really look back on this one and smile. So, and I don't have it anymore. But at least I got out early. At least I played it for a good amount, and at least I didn't dislike it. But it was definitely not worth my time. Next is MLB The Show 18. This is one of the worst MLB The Shows ever. With that being said, I still played it for probably a couple hundred hours. I'm kind of indifferent on this game. On one hand, it came out at the right time. It's a very nostalgic time. It came out in early 2018, so you got like Prime Fortnite, God's Plan by Drake, among other things from that time period, and it all just kind of blends together to be kind of a fun time. So for that reason, and I also got hundreds of hours out of this game. So for that reason, I'm going to put in C tier, despite it being worthless now and also not being a very good game. Which brings us to Madden 19, which is another F tier. I barely played this game at all, and it's not good, and it's not worth money. And I bought it digitally, so I didn't get rid of it. This was the first one that I bought digitally. Next is MLB The Show 19. So MLB 19 was also a Prime Fortnite release, so that, what's weird is that this game kind of killed my Prime Fortnite enthusiast mode. And you can see we're in the sports game era of my life, where I played like sport. I was the ball and gun gamer for a little bit there, well, with some other stuff on the side, of course. But MLB 19, this was a good one. I like this one. This is where the MLB The Shows get good, in my opinion. Yeah, I think I have like 400 hours on the game. It was definitely worth it. I'm going A tier, again, with MLB The Show 19. Which brings us to the next one, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. I liked this game a lot when I played it. I played it like twice, and it's still worth a good amount. So this one is definitely also going to be A tier. When I was a huge Pokemon fan, a lot of people don't like that one. I like that game. I think it's fun. It was one of the first Pokemon games I played, so that definitely helps it out. But I like Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, and I had a fun time playing it. I remember I bought it on a Friday, and I was like, I'll just play it for the weekend, and I almost beat it that weekend. And, I never played it again after that on that playthrough, and eventually I went through and beat it from the start. But I do like that game. I look back on that first playthrough very fondly. It was a cool memory for me. Next is Madden 20. So this one is actually going to be a surprise, because every other Madden you got in D tier and F tier, but Madden 20 was pretty solid. I like this one. This is the Madden that I played the most by far. I think I have like 300 hours on Madden 20, surprisingly enough. It was the last year that I really liked football, and if anyone watching it is a football fan, there was unfortunately, I wouldn't consider myself a football fan at all now, but when I was a Jets fan. Unfortunately, the catalyst that made me stop being a football fan, or a Jets fan in general, was when the Jets traded Jamal Adams. That was my I'm done moment. And that happened during this game cycle, and then after that I never really cared about football again. So Madden 20 I'm actually going to put in A tier, because I played it for 400 hours and I also liked it. So it was definitely a worthwhile purchase. And the one that I grabbed a little prematurely was Link's Awakening for the Switch remake. When I played this game, I didn't really like it, but it's another one where I got out early because I realized I didn't like it, and, well, I didn't really get out early because it's a Nintendo Switch game, so it retained its value naturally. But I did sell it at a certain point, and eventually I bought it back. I don't like 2D Zelda that much. It's not my thing. And that game is what helped me realize that. So I'm gonna go D tier with Link's Awakening. It's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. Like, Link to the Past is considered by Zelda fans to be like one of the best games ever, and I just thought it was okay. I was fine with it. Next is Luigi's Mansion 3. When I was really little, like 3DS era, I loved Dark Moon. It's a thing with people my age and just about, is that we all played Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon and we all loved it, but, imagine my surprise when I played Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon as an adult, and it was fucking garbage. So, and I played Luigi's Mansion 2, and 3, and I don't know, it's so boring. It actually might be the most boring game that I've ever played. and it took me 6 years to beat it. I started it when I bought the game in 2019, and finished it last year for a scrapped Luigi's Mansion video. So I'm gonna put it in D tier. It still has some value, so it's not like it was a bad purchase, as in, you know, I bought Madden 18 and then it was worth nothing a year later. But like I just don't like the game. I just don't like the game. Next is Pokemon Sword. Pokemon Sword is good. I always thought that it was a good game. I think a lot of the issues with it are overblown. And I think for a first Pokemon game on the Switch, it was pretty solid. I liked it. It's like, it is the most C tier, I think, on the entire list. Like, it is the definition of C tier for this specific list. It is still worth a good amount of money. You know, I always would have bought it anyways. And I had a good time with it at the, you know, when it came out. And I'm glad to have been there for the game's release. You know, I'll put it B tier then. I liked it. It's definitely better than these other two, because it's actually a good game, in my opinion. So that brings us to MLB The Show 20. This was my COVID game. We all have the COVID game. A lot of people's COVID game is this one. This was mine. This was the one that I put 1,000 hours into. And it's, in my opinion, one of the best online games ever. Not that it's my particular field of expertise, but of the ones that I've played, this is probably the second best online game I've played besides Fortnite. You know, good. I like the game a lot. It's one of my all-time favorites. 1,000 hours. I grinded the shit out of that game. It's going in S tier. I have like 1,083 hours. The reason I remember that number is because, like, I flex it like a badge of honor that I have 1,083 hours on that game. I love that game. It's going in S tier. Next is Animal Crossing New Horizons. This was a lot of other people's COVID game. I played it a good amount, but not nearly as much as other people. Like, you got people with hundreds of hours. I probably played it for like 20, 30. And I enjoyed my time with it. But I mean, I don't regret buying it. I'm not happy I bought it. I'd put it C tier. And you know, a lot of these are like, it's weird because, you know, I look at the memories that I made with Animal Crossing New Horizons, and to me now, with where I'm at, like, I would say that was definitely worth my $60, but, you know, considering at the time, like, I don't know, I could have bought better games than that, like Persona 5 Royal, which came out, like, right around the same time, but, you know, of course, I wasn't playing Persona 5 as a 14-year-old who had only played Ball and Gun, so, like, you know. Next is going to be Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. During COVID, I played Super Paper Mario for the Wii. It became one of my all-time favorite games. It still is. And I started playing The Thousand Year Door on Dolphin. And I eventually, like, after, it was during this Chapter 2, I realized, like, I'd rather just play this game on a GameCube. Like, I love this game so much, I'd rather just have it and play it normally. So I switched to playing Paper Mario The Origami King, which came out, like, a couple months later. Well, I actually switched to playing MLB The Show for 1,000 hours, and then when Origami King came out, I played it, and I never finished it because the game is bad. You know, it was a disappointment because I think around that time there was like that remaster Thousand Year Door thing. You know, I was a huge Paper Mario fan. There was a, you know, in that like late 2020 to early 2021 time, like, I was the Paper Mario glazer. Like, I was on Twitter glazing Paper Mario and stuff on, like, an anonymous account and stuff. And, you know, that's kind of, that was my thing. So, I do like Paper Mario, but the Origami King, not a fan. I'm putting it D tier. You know, I would have bought the game at some point anyways. So, like, it's not the worst one ever. But, you know, I never finished the game. I don't think it's good. So, it's a D tier. Next is going to be Demon's Souls. I've never played this game. So this is a weird story. I don't know if I've told it on the channel. I probably have. When the PS5 came out, I wanted one. I don't remember why, but I didn't pre-order them. I didn't pre-order a PS5 like right when the pre-orders dropped. I think I waited a day, and waiting a day was a bad idea. So I was part of the masses when it came to, like, you know, trying to get every PS5 drop on like the GameStop website and the Best Buy website and stuff, and like trying to snipe them. One night my mom just happened to snipe a PS5 on the Kohl's website. Turns out Kohl's oversold their stock and the order got canceled, but the order didn't get canceled before I paid $70 for Demon's Souls. And and by the time that I actually got my PS5 in June of 2022, Elden Ring was out. So why would I play Demon's Souls when I have Elden Ring, which we're going to get to later. So that, I think that might be the only one on the list that I have just straight up not played at all. And that's not to say that, like, you know, I wouldn't like the game if I played it, or that I don't want to play the game. It's just like, you know, I have bigger priorities, and it's honestly a pretty funny bit that I paid $70 for that game and never played it, and I honestly might keep that bit going. Next is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. So the reason I bought this was, this is a funny story in and of itself. So when this game came out, there was also a game hunting meta which revolved around buying a Switch and trading it for old games, because this was like still kind of sort of during COVID times when it was harder to get a Switch. So I bought a Switch Lite and this game and was just trying to trade the Switch Lite, and my main idea was like, oh, I'll trade for the Switch Lite. I'll trade the Switch Lite, sell everything I trade for, and then the game will pretty much be free. That was like the idea behind it. And I never did trade the Switch Lite. I just returned it. So that was pretty funny. It's a funny story, but the game itself is great. It's one of my favorite Mario games. I 100%ed that game on the Switch. It's so much better on the Switch. I'm going A tier with it. It wasn't my first time playing it, of course, but it was, you know, it was the best time playing it because that version is a lot better than the Wii U version. So next is going to be Zelda Skyward Sword HD. Now this is a monumental one, and it's the first one that I just kind of said fuck it and bought because I had GameStop trade credit, which we're going to see a lot more of later. You know, the GameStop meta is alive and well now, and this was the first one for, like, I think the entirety of, or probably like since this game, GameStop will give you a boost on your trade credit if you pre-order a game with it, and you can also like put $5 on the pre-order, and it's like a whole method which we're not going to get into now, but just know, like, it was more effective for me to just place a random pre-order on a game when trading stuff in. And the first one that I ever did that for was Skyward Sword HD, and then when the game actually came out, I was like, you know what, I'll just pick it up, because I never played Skyward Sword, and I love the game. I think it's one of the best Zelda games, and I think I will put it in the A tier. I love the game. It's also very historically significant, as we just discussed, and you know, it's a pretty long game too, and it's still worth a little bit of money, so we're gonna go A tier with that. Next is MLB The Show 21. So MLB 21 was another, like, it wasn't as much of, like, you know, the COVID game for me, but it was still sort of during COVID, so I got a lot of playtime out of it, and I don't have a physical for it, unfortunately. But yeah, MLB 21, it was a good one. I liked it. I put 400 hours in, which definitely is going to boost it up to A tier. I do look back on this game fondly. This is the one where I was actually competitive. You know, I was very good at this game. You know, I feel like I've flexed this a million times. I was top 1,000 on the leaderboard for lifetime stats, because I played like consistently in low ranks and just managed to get like a 120 and like 15 record off of essentially smurfing, but not really. I don't know, but yeah, very, very funny. I got a lot of it. My point is, I got a lot of game time out of that, and I enjoyed it, so it's going A tier. Next is Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. This is the first of like that random spree where they just released like 3 Pokemon games within a year between Brilliant Diamond, Legends Arceus, and Violet. So Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. This was a fun one. This was like the first because they released 3 Pokemon games in a year, I did the same thing for all 3. They all came out on a Friday. All 3 of them, I picked them up on the Friday and played the games the entire weekend. Like, did not stop until they were finished. And I did that 3 times in a year. It was weird. It was like clockwork. So like, and that's fun. But I have not replayed the game since. You know, they were okay. They're not worth nearly as much now, I don't think. At least actually they might be, because it's Pokemon, and Pokemon stuff is just ridiculously expensive in like the last 2 years. Like, ever since I got out of the Pokemon hobby, it's just gone fucking ridiculous. Like, not that I don't like Pokemon, but like, you know, ever since Pokemon stopped being like my main thing that I am into, it's just gone wild. So Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, it was a fine game. I liked it at the time. I recognize its faults, but you know, I enjoyed it. It was fine. I'll put it in C tier. Like, again, the games were discounted very early on too, which is another thing. Like, had I waited like a couple months, I could have gone for like 30 or 40 bucks. Next is Pokemon Legends Arceus. Pokemon Legends Arceus, I liked a good bit more. Although, like, you know, again, like, I don't have much to say. Like, again, I beat the game in the first weekend and picked it up on a Friday. Like, it was a good time. I enjoyed it. I think I'll go B tier, because this was actually a good game. But yeah, like, it was a very good game. Next is Elden Ring. This is the first PS5 game I ever... Actually, no, it's not. It's the first PS5 game that we're covering. Well, it's the first PS5 game that we're covering that I actually played. Elden Ring, one of the best games ever. There's not really much else to say. Like, it's one of the best games ever. We all know about Elden Ring. Like, I've played this game 3 times, I believe. It's one of the infinitely replayable ones. It's an S tier for sure. One of the all-time great games. So yeah, that is Elden Ring. Next is Pokemon Violet. I did actually play this one a lot. Like, this one I put 100+ hours into. I was shiny hunting on it. You know, it's one of those things where I remember in school, me and all my friends were playing it in class and stuff. And it's just, you know, this is the only one of those Pokemon games that was really like anything more than just a one weekend fun little thing to do. So I do like, and this is my favorite of the 3. So I'm going to put it, ignore that shit. We are going to go A tier with it. I definitely am happy I bought it, and I'm happy I was there for the release of that game. Next is MLB The Show 22. This is going to be D tier. It's one of my least favorite MLB The Shows. It's the first one where it like started to go downhill. Well, I guess not really, but like 21 was still good. 22 was not. It was just basically 21, but with things more streamlined, and I don't like that. And yeah, and like streamlined in a bad way, like, you know, taking multiple avenues of content and like combining them into one big thing, which is just annoying. And it's something that they've continued to do, where, you know, there'll be 2 completely separate reward paths, and then they'll just say, guys, we're going to combine them both into one. And then all it results in is less variance in content and less content overall, which is not good. So next one is going to be Metroid Prime Remastered. So this game, when it came out, was very hard to find for some reason. It was, you know, it's funny because like this is something that you see like with like every major game release nowadays, where, you know, it comes out and then the first print run is like slightly more limited than it probably should be, and the game's hard to come by. It's happened this year with Tomodachi Life. It's happened with Resident Evil. It happened last year with Expedition 33. Like, these games, they're just hard to come by because they're underprinting them. This was the first one that I can remember like that, and I just happened to run into one at Walmart, and I was like, you know what, I gotta do it. As far as like a purchase goes, like it's probably gonna be C tier. Like, it was okay. The game was not worth like significantly more than what I paid for it. It retailed for $40. I think I bought it for it retailed for $40, and it was worth like $60 at the time. So it wasn't like a crazy screaming deal or anything, but it was probably, I don't know. Like, I'm not the biggest Metroid Prime fan. I enjoyed the game, but it's not my favorite, and I never actually beat it, so I'm gonna go there with it. Next is MLB The Show 23, which I, again, don't have a physical for. I am going to go A tier with this one. Now, this one's gonna need like a really big, disclaimer. I'm sure there's not gonna be many people, if any people, watching this who are super into Diamond Dynasty and MLB The Show or anything, but just in case there is, this game was like the best live content that they've ever had in the MLB The Show games for like the first month. And that first month I look back on, and it's like probably my favorite time of playing MLB The Show, and I love that. So for that reason, I'm going A tier with it. And then like the game kind of fell off very quickly, but the time that it was good, it was like the best that it had ever been. So I'm gonna go A tier with it. Next is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. This is one of the best games ever, one of my favorite games ever. It's S tier. There's not much to say. This was another one, like I remember kids in school playing it in class and stuff, which is always a plus, because like it just kind of adds to the moment and the spectacle of it. So it's going S tier. Also, like 100+ hours of one of the best games ever. It's pretty easily S tier. Next is Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Mario Wonder, like I've like it. So this is a game that I just personally have a distaste for, and it, as far as it being a game itself, I think it's a good game. I definitely do, but I just have like, for personal reasons, I dislike the game because it, reminds me of a subpar moment where a friend basically lost it permanently, and so I'm gonna go C tier with it. Again, like I think the game's good, but not worth $60. It's pretty short, and there are better 2D Mario games. Like, I'd rather play Mario World. I'd rather play Mario 3. I'd rather play New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I'd rather play New Super Mario Bros. On the DS. So, like, and so, like, I don't know. Like, that's a game that I realistically probably should have just waited to buy it during a GameStop sale for like $30. Next is Persona 3 Reload. Persona 3 Reload, great game. One of my, I don't know if I'd say it's one of my all-time favorites, but like it's really, really good. I love this game, and I love the playthrough of it. Like, it was my senior year of high school, so it was just kind of a fun time. And the game's very good. It's very long, got a lot of time out of it, which makes it a lot more worthwhile. So I'm gonna put it in the A tier. Definitely was worth it. So Persona 3 Reload. And now we get to like the part where there's going to be a lot more games. Previously it was mostly just like, oh, this is my favorite series at the time, and I need to buy the new game, or like something similar like that, or a game that's just a no-brainer that pretty much anyone has the console and is into games at all is going to buy, like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Like, nobody was going to not buy that. But now we're getting into like the more, this game looks cool, I'll pick it up. After this one, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door on the Switch. So this is a weird one because I never actually finished the Switch version of this game, because it is basically the same, but the original is a top 10 game of all time. I think it's one of the greatest games ever made. It's one of my favorites. I needed to have this. Like, there was never a world where I wasn't going to buy this, so I'm going to put it A tier. Because again, it's one of the best games ever made, but at the same time, like, I didn't play it, so like, I played the first 2 chapters again, but at a certain point I was like, alright, I should probably move on to stuff that I haven't already played. So next is going to be MLB The Show 24. This was the worst MLB The Show, I think. I'm going to put it in F tier. I was very close to not even buying this game, but then, a lot of the streamers and stuff that I have enjoyed for, the past 10 years gave me FOMO. So I bought it, and it is the worst one. So I'm gonna go F tier with that. I didn't get that much playtime out of it, and the playtime that I did get out of it was just kind of, going through the motions. Next is gonna be Astro Bot. This is like the actual one where it's like, okay, this game came out, it's getting really, really good reviews, I'll pick it up. And I'm glad I did, because this is a great game. But yeah, it's a great game. It's a great platformer. I'm glad I picked it up. It was definitely worthwhile. It's definitely a B tier pickup. Next is Metaphor Refantasio. So what's weird is that I actually wasn't going to pick this up. This is one where it'd be like a no-brainer for me, because Persona. Do I like Persona? There's only Persona stuff everywhere in my room. But yeah, I wasn't going to pick this up originally, but then like I think it has a 94 on Metacritic or something ridiculously high, and I was like, I kind of gotta get it. And in modern gaming and stuff, if you see like an 88 or higher on Metacritic, that's when you know it's time to hop in, because that's when it reaches like all-time great status. And it was like a 94, so I was like, oh. And I do like this game. I think it's a great game. It's not like, my favorite. Like, if I were to compare it to the modern Persona trilogy, if we're disregarding Persona 1 and 2 because they're bad, and we compare this to the modern Persona trilogy, I don't think it's as good as any of them, but I do still think it's a very good game, and it also is very long, so I'm going to put it in the A tier. Good value for the $1, great game. It also is not worth much, but whatever. That's also like a secondary one. It's just for bonus points, like how 100 line is going to get bonus points for it just being hard to find now. This is this one's pretty funny, because I didn't even know this game existed until like I was scrolling Reddit one day, and I got an r/Danganronpa post that was like referencing this game. I was like, what the hell is this game? And then I had to look it up, and this was like 2 months after it came out. So like, my point is that the marketing for this game was atrocious. As a pretty big Danganronpa fan, I had no idea that this game even existed. Which, like, how did they let that happen? Like, how do you market the game so poorly that? And it's like, it's the creators of Zero Escape and Danganronpa, which are like two of my probably 5 favorite video game series ever, and I didn't even know this game existed until like 2 months after it came out. How did they market it that poorly? I don't understand. But 100 line Last Defense Academy. It's hard to find now. It's a great game. It's very long. There's a lot of content. It's going A tier. It's not Tears of the Kingdom level, but it is very good. MLB The Show 25, I think is very similar to MLB 21 in the sense of like, it's good and I got a lot of time out of it, but it's not like the best. So I'm gonna put it A tier. MLB 25 I played for 400 hours. It's the reason why you guys didn't get that many videos last year. I was addicted. There was a time period where it was like almost the only thing I played for like 2 months. I don't know why I got so addicted to it. I think it was just like I was deprived of good MLB The Show from like, the summer of 2023 through 2025, and I was, scratching at the neck for something. There needed to be 500 hours put into it, naturally. And they were fun 500 hours. I enjoyed it. I played it like almost year round, so definitely A tier. I'm not going to go S tier because I don't think it, at the end of the day, not as good as 20, and that's the benchmark for that style of game. Next is Expedition 33. This was similar to Astrobot in the sense of like, this game came out and it was like apparently the greatest thing ever, and I do think it's better than Astrobot. Like this game actually could have an argument for being the greatest thing ever. I love this game. It's one of the best. And it was worth more than MSRP at the time. This is another one, like as I was saying, like this game was worth like 80 when it dropped and it retailed for 50. It was one of those where it was an immediate sellout because it got like such crazy good reviews, not only from actual gaming journalists, but from just fans and stuff. It went crazy. So Expedition 33, I'm going to put in the A tier. Absolutely worth it. But not that S tier. It's not like the one where I'm thinking, what the yes, I'm so glad I bought that. You know, like it was definitely worth it, and I would definitely do it again, but it wasn't the best. It wasn't as good as like the top tier. Next is Mario Kart World. So, you know, Switch 2 comes out. They got the bundle with the digital Mario Kart World for $500 or the console for $450 and Mario Kart World individually for $80. You know what I did? I had to buy the physical. I just blasted the desk. Hopefully I remember to edit that out. And if I didn't, I'm sorry. Mario Kart World, I played it a lot when it dropped, but, you know, after like the third day of playing it, I realized Mario Kart Wii is better. And that's a problem with like every Mario Kart game. It's just that Mario Kart Wii is better. There's no reason to play the other ones because Mario Kart Wii is just better. And so for that reason, I'm gonna put it in B tier, because this is also one where it's like there's no world where I wasn't buying it. So what's the point of not putting it in B tier? Next is Cyberpunk 2077. This game is very good. I like it a lot. It took me forever to finish because, you know, what's interesting was like Cyberpunk, this entire era, like the Switch 2's release, was my first ever time actually being employed and having a job. So, not only did I have more money to spend on games, but I also had less time to play the games. So that game took me fucking forever to finish. I'm gonna also put that B tier. I think it was a solid purchase. I'm glad I did it. Although I'm not like, you know, head over heels for it. Next is going to be Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. So I bought this game because there were 3 games besides the Zelda Switch 2 editions, which I already had the Zelda game, so why would I buy Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom again if I already had them? So there were 3 games besides those 2 that were not game keycard, and it was Mario Kart World, Cyberpunk 2077, and Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. On the second day of the Switch's release, it was like, you know what, I already have the other 2 non-key cards, I might as well just buy the third. I never finished this game. I played it for a few hours, and I did like what I played, but I only played it for maybe like 4 or 5 hours. Like, it was an okay purchase. Like, I'm kind of glad I did it, because it was a cool memory of like me and my friends just going to every retailer in my town and trying to like find them Switches and me Rune Factory. Like, it was a cool thing, and I enjoyed it. It was worth it for the memory of buying it, but as far as the game itself, absolutely fucking not. Next is remember how I said why would I buy Zelda Switch 2 edition? I kind of did. So the reason for this is, as I said, Zelda Breath of the Wild, one of my all-time favorite games. I wanted to play it in 60 FPS 4K with this version, so I had 2 options, or 3 options. I could have either 1, bought the upgrade digitally, 2, subscribe to the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass, or 3, just buy the game physically with the Switch 2 edition. And so I chose to buy it physically for the Switch 2 edition because, you know, I'll actually get something physically out of it. And I don't know, it was okay. Like, again, this is the point where we reach like, what the hell else would I spend my money on? So like, I'm not like super pissed about this, but it, again, like I played it for maybe 3 or 4 hours, and before I, you know, the novelty of, oh, I'm playing Breath of the Wild in actually good conditions here, like that novelty wore off eventually. So it was like, it was okay. Like, yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. I'm not like super happy about the purchase. I'm not disappointed with it. It was more of like, it was more of principle of like, you know, maximum consumerism and you know, getting fucked in the ass by Nintendo. That really, you know, makes me dislike that purchase, and it has nothing to do with the money or the game itself. So next is going to be Donkey Kong Bonanza. And this is another one, like, there was no world where I wasn't going to buy this. The game's very good. I do like it quite a bit. I played it. It took me a while to beat it. Like, in terms of value, I don't think it's the greatest, but it's also not the worst. I don't know. Like, I think this is another B tier. It's like, there was no world where I wasn't going to buy this. It was good. I got my money's worth out of it for the most part, and I don't regret buying it. although it wasn't the best thing ever. So that's my opinion on Donkey Kong Bonanza. Next is going to be Hollow Knight Silksong, which still does not have a physical release. You know, I don't know why they wouldn't make it a physical release. The game's entire launch was such a spectacle. Like, it would have sold so many physical copies, and for more than $20. Like, they could have definitely sold physicals for $40 and it would have went crazy. But, you know, it still doesn't have one. Like, I can't believe it still doesn't have one. There's not even any word of one. Like, I would buy it again. I would buy it again. It would be on the list twice if it got a physical release, because it's a great game, and I love Hollow Knight. I got one right there. I think this is going to be, I think it's going to be an A tier. I think it's a solid game. I don't like it nearly as much as the first one. And, you know, I've said why before, but I do like the game. It was definitely worth 20, and I think that's a big deal here. Like, if I bought it for digitally for $70, like, it'd be a lot more questionable, but it was a $20 purchase, so it was definitely worth it. Next is Pokemon Legends ZA. This is going to be a D tier, partially off of principle, because, like, this game was not good. I knew going in that it was not going to be good, but I just kind of bought it anyways, and I think that's a bad mentality to have. You shouldn't just buy the game for $70 because it has the Pokemon logo on it, and I think, well, actually, I was going to say I think I'm going to stop doing that from now on, but I won't, because, like, I have no reason to not buy. Like, it's weird. It's weird. But, you know, I think regardless of all of that, Pokemon ZA was, like, especially bad for Pokemon standards. You know, in terms of, like, if you compare it to Violet and Scarlet, it's definitely worse. If you compare it to Legends ZA, it's definitely worse. Or Legends Arceus, it's definitely worse. And if it were as good as those games, I would have no problem with having paid $70 for it. But because it's just so ass, I was a bit disappointed. My computer just shut down. Oh, here's the Pokemon Legends ZA. Okay, my computer died, so we're going to be going off of memory for, like, the next couple digital releases. Next is going to be Dispatch. Dispatch was great. I loved that game. It was one of my favorites of last year. I think I gave it a 10 on my end of year recap video, which, do I still agree with it being a 10? No. I rushed it a bit there, but I loved that game. I absolutely did. It wasn't a full 70 or a full 60, it was 30. So that also contributes. That makes it completely fine that it was short. So I'm going to go A tier with Dispatch. Definitely worth it. Which brings us to the next one, which is going to be Resident Evil Requiem. So I bought Resident Evil Requiem digitally, not because of, like, the fact that it sold out everywhere, but because I had a Switch gift card. I had an eShop card that was worth like $75, and I got it like the day after Resident Evil Requiem dropped, so it was basically meant to be for me to buy that game with that gift card. So I did, and I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was a great game, and I will go B tier with it. With every other Switch 2 game that's ever been fucking released, they're all B tier in this list. You know, I guess no Switch 2 games have like truly knocked my socks off yet. But none of them have disappointed me either. Like, they've all just been solid. And next is going to be MLB The Show 26, which, you know what? How about that? We're doing this instead. MLB The Show 26. This game's weak. This game is weak. It's going to go C tier. Like, again, there was no world where I wasn't going to buy this after putting 400 hours into 25. So it's not like I'm disappointed with my purchase or anything, but it's more of like the game is just not that good. So, and that's a problem. it is. I would have liked for it to be good, and then, you know, I'd really get my money's worth out of it, but, you know, probably going to be off that game fairly soon. And now it's back to the last two physical releases, which, you know, we're taking a bit of liberty. You know, you made it almost an hour into this video. You deserve to know that Tomodachi Life Living the Dream is actually not the most recent game that I've bought full price. And that is because Pragmata came out the day after Tomodachi Life. But for the sake of the video, we're just going to go Pragmata first. This game is very good. I think it's a great game. And it's also not a full 70. It is 60. And I've not finished it yet. I'm making this video prematurely because I felt like doing it today. because this is fun. This is fun stuff right here. So Pragmata, very good game. I think it was definitely worth my money, especially because I got it for free because of the GameStop Wii method of unlimited trade credit. So I'm happy with that purchase. I'm going to put it in B tier as well. And that brings us to the final game. We've come full circle. Tomodachi Life, living the dream. This game sold out everywhere, so I'm glad I purchased it on that front. And I've already gotten my money's worth out of it. I'm like 20 hours in. I love this game. It was definitely worth my money. I'm going to go A tier with it. With time, it has definitely the potential to be S tier. And that potential would come if the game does receive continuous updates to add back some of the features that were removed from the 3DS version that gave the 3DS version so much replayability. Stuff like the compatibility tester, the Me ranking board, the music hall, the watchtower, like all the stuff that they removed. If they can add it back, then Tomodachi Life Living the Dream could truly be like a masterpiece game. But as of right now, it's just a very solid and probably about as good alternative to the 3DS version. It's weird. It's unfortunate that this has to be this way. It's sort of like Tomodachi Life is kind of in like, the Final Fantasy VII Persona 3 limbo, where there's a couple different versions of it and neither one is like truly definitive, so you kind of have to, pick your poison on which, inferiorities you'd prefer to have, and that's unfortunate. I wish we could have just gotten like a definitive Tomodachi Life experience with everything in it, but despite that, the game is great and the game is fun, and I'm glad I bought it, and it was definitely worth it. So that is every game that I have bought brand new. It's also like a cool trip through my gaming journey. You get like the, very, very little kid buying Tomodachi Life me, and then you enter the ball and gun gamer era of like, late 2010s. And then you get into the broke-ass frugal budding game collector arc in like early 2020s. And then, with like Astrobot, you get to the era where I can just kind of buy what I want because I actually have money. So it's just kind of like it's a cool trip through my gaming journey, and it's fun to talk about. So and of course, as I said, keep in mind, I'll show the final chart here. These rankings are not based on the quality of the games alone. If it were, it would be completely different. But this is a combination of quality of the game, the value that I got at the purchase, the monetary value of the copy of the game, and like a bunch of other stuff that all adds up to the final evaluation. So no, I don't think that MLB The Show 19 is a better game than Zelda Majora's Mask.